This episode brought to you by the outdoors. Well, not like the outdoors, but like out of doors, like, drinking and sitting.
This is Hot Drop, where we bring you premier PUBG analysis and damp, moist drops. I'm Dano,
And I'm Cody.
and let's get into it.
Jesus. This is episode 39, a savagely fun chicken, and the real introduction of the Xbox box.
Xbox box.
Want to thank everybody for all the Discord activity this week. It was blowing up on a daily basis. Couldn't keep up with it ourselves. It was so much. So thank you to everybody, and huge Xbox turnout this week in the Discord. PC people, step up your game, please. You're making us look bad.
We just have to get you an Xbox now with all this strong showing out of our Xbox homies.
If you could fund my Patreon account, it is Lord Beardface.
Link in bio. So how you been, man? How are things?
Good. Semester's almost over, so students are leaving by the time everybody listens to this Sunday. So things will slow down a bit. I should be a little bit more active in all of the things. We'll get a little bit more time to play, I'd say.
God.
Things should be pretty normalized by then. Got a little pupper. Got a little pupper at home.
Got a little pupper. What'd you name her?
Gypsy Moon.
I was gonna sing, but I'm not gonna go. That's your,
I can
that's your
see
job.
your gypsy. We can play a little Stevie Nicks.
Sorry. Okay.
But we've got a lot of things to talk about today. But I think first and foremost, remember, new episodes come out. We do the live stream on Thursdays. Those episodes are available for download on Friday. We stream after those shows, and we also stream on Sunday nights. All of those are from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time.
That's correct. Yep. We do stream HotDrop_podcast on Twitch. And we've got our Discord, like we've been saying all along. We plug it every single time. It's a great place to meet us, hang out, find people to play with, just chat throughout the day. This week, it's been a lot of procrastination. It's been a lot of people, just myself included, trying not to work, trying our hardest to sit at our desks and not do any work and just chat with each other. So it's been a good time. If you're looking for a spot to procrastinate, check us out. Link in bio.
If you want to shirk on your responsibilities, Hot Drop's the place for you.
A hot drop. We're going to drop your job because you're going to be out of work from procrastinating so hard. That's me. Procrastinating so hard. All right. You want to just get into it?
Let's just jump right into the Xbox box.
So, the step one of the Xbox
Cut a
box,
hole in the box.
you cut a hole in the box, and then you find a beautiful, blossoming, bountiful harvest of Xbox accoutrement in the form of news, some Discord chatter, and some gameplay tips.
Word up.
Kicking it off in the Xbox box, or Xbox box, we've got some news, and we have patch notes, and some patch notes that you've probably already experienced, but not everyone has, because this was a patch that just hit the test servers and was something that was open for a limited time. So if you are like me and Cody, who don't have a lot of time to play, you probably missed out on these 3 days of test server updates, which included Miramar, of course, and we've talked about this a little bit in the last episode.
Yeah, so they opened that up from May 5th to May 8th, and it was Miramar only for this test server, solos, duos, squads, first person, and third person. So there were a lot of cool opportunities for you guys to hop in there, play. We really want to know everything that you thought about it. I know you guys have been keeping us kind of up to date. I know a lot of you were kind of pissed that you had to work different shifts and didn't have a whole lot of time to play, but we did get a lot of really good feedback from you guys.
So much, and a lot of that we're going to get back to when we talk about our question of the week, because our question of the week this week was what was something that you really want to see in Xbox land, and we will get to that towards the end of the show. But we did want to cover these patches, this big patch, because a lot of these things are still very relevant and are going to be things that hit the live server, we hope, in the next week or so. There's a lot of features here, things that are Xbox specific, as well as things that we already have had on PC for a long time that are now just being brought to the Xbox. And one of the things that resonated the most with people in our Discord were just the UI changes. The fact that there's a new slider interface, you can adjust the controller vibration as well. But we're going to list all of these things in a second. But it was just mostly that the UI is updated so that you can see more button prompts, and the UI was a little bit cleaner and more in line with what a AAA title should look like, I think, on the Xbox before it's sort of just placeholder kind of stuff. But I started getting into the bullets because I'm looking at my screen and reading. So we can jump right into the settings menu changes. And I'm going to talk about all these things because this is the Xbox box. You guys are unwrapping this puppy, and you're going to get all the details that you need about all of these patch notes. So game settings are now grouped up by category. Colorblind settings have been added. Crosshair settings have been added. They added a new slider interface and an option to adjust strength of controller vibration. They added an option to set dead zone for the left analog stick, and aim acceleration can now be completely disabled if set to 0. Previously, 0 actually meant 1, but now you can completely disable it.
Interesting.
And the game controller function guide has been updated. So changes to scopes. Cody, these are something we saw on PC not too long ago.
Yeah.
And the biggest change I thought was that the 2X is so much more usable now.
Oh my
God. You want to jump into these?
Yeah, so they expanded all scopes field of view, which is perfect. That was a good adjustment that we saw on the PC, and I'm glad you guys get to see it now. They added parallax effect when moving to weapons quickly, which we had to look that up when it happened on PC, what they used parallax, but that is the skewing of the edges of the scope, right?
Yeah, it's sort of like
right?
This one is the movement. It's like when you bring up the scope and you look left and right quickly, the scope kind of slowly catches up to you.
Yep.
It kind of like slides or kind of like waves. It's kind of like a wavy movement.
Yeah,
that's
it kind of
parallax is.
It's like when you come out of FTL in space, it kind of slows and stretches and then catches up.
It's kind of like a wall.
Yeah,
that's like an auditory representation of what that is.
That is the onomatopoeia of parallax.
Wall.
They added vignetting and chromatic aberration and distortion on all scopes.
Yeah, color difference caused by light refraction. That's fancy.
Well, the color difference was that was actually an issue that we had that they had fixed on PC, that it was too much.
Yeah.
And then they corrected that. So the color difference caused by the light refraction was changed on PC to be better and less extreme.
Right. And now they brought it to Xbox too. And you're noticing a trend here. Like, we've seen all these things come to PC before, and now we're seeing them come to Xbox.
And one exciting thing about the people who play Xbox is you were seeing these things faster than we saw them on PC.
So much faster, yeah.
So you guys are now catching up a little bit in terms of, like, you're still behind, but you are getting these features sooner than we got them on the PC. That's
absolutely correct. It's really cool because I was thinking about this week, and I'm getting excited for the Xbox people because they are feeling what we were feeling about 6 months ago. It's the excitement for what's to come. The only difference is that they sort of know what's coming because we know what the PC builds have as far as features. But it's just that general level of excitement it's really cool. People are really getting into this game, and it's infectious for sure because our Discord is popping off with the Xbox people talking about the game, being excited for the patches, testing Miramar, and it's sort of bringing me back to the old days.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so hopping back down into here, out-of-game menus and UX improvements. The cancel matchmaking UI has been improved. You can now cancel matchmaking by holding the X button on any screen except for the settings menu.
Yeah, I want to jump on this real quick because the Xbox queuing system and matchmaking ready up system was awful. It was so bad on the test server. This was something that we kept seeing over and over and over again when I was trying to play with our Xbox homies a couple weeks ago on the first round of testing for Miramar. Every single time you would join someone's lobby, you would try to ready up, and it just would fail. Like, people wouldn't see the check marks. They wouldn't be in the lobby. You tried to ready up, and when you readied up, you would then just suddenly go into a match alone sometimes. It was just awful. So they're focusing on fixing that, which is very, very well appreciated and very needed. So I'm glad they are fixing this, because we would start matchmaking and try to cancel it, and you just couldn't. It would just say, nope, I'm matchmaking. Too bad. You can't stop me. And you would go into a match alone, and it was really frustrating.
What else did they do? They improved the UI that indicates matchmaking is in progress. So progress time is now actually displayed. When a match is found, a countdown will appear. So that goes along with what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Transition speed between menus has increased. Okay. 2 new menu items have been added: customization and store, all in
Yes.
capital letters. To get a box, go to store and then crates. To open a box you've received, go to my items in the store. On
Yep.
test servers, the number of boxes that can be purchased per week has been increased significantly, up to 100. What?
Yeah, you got to get those crates, man. Those skins.
Garbage trash.
Skins equals skills. Did you not know that?
Well, I mean, we can only open like 4.
I don't know if they have a key system yet, though. That's something that was brought up in Discord too. It's a matter of time before they have keys that you can purchase for points or whatever. But I think as far as testing goes, they're just giving people the option to open up a poop ton of testing cases for test purposes. Mm-hmm. And I actually came across this Reddit post that was showing you the ratio of getting a trash item compared to like a very good item, and it was like 90% to like 1%, and the rest of the percents were just the middle things, the common things. That was explained horribly. Basically, you have a bar chart. You have a very high bar for the number of trash items and a very low bar for the number of good items. Don't open cases if you have to pay for it. That's the takeaway here.
Oh, jeez.
If only John was here to make a good point and sum up my
or a great
horrible description of what I was just trying to say.
So they also made some miscellaneous changes. Emotes have been added. We don't use them at all.
Yeah, I was thinking about this week. We never use emotes.
Never.
Ever.
We tested them out and went, okay, when would
That's
I ever use this?
And then we never used it.
Because like at the end of a game, the game is over. In Fortnite, when you win, you can do the emote and they give you a couple seconds to do your cool move.
Yep.
And then on PUBG, you get that last kill and you could be staring up at the sky.
Yeah.
And that's like the last thing you see.
Or you're dead on the ground. But either way, yeah, you can't do anything. It just completely ends after the last kill. It's weird. They were all psyched up about these emotes. They were like, oh, check this out. Like, look at this cool wheel of UI coolness. And then like, no one uses them. Yeah, they just take too long. Like you're just a sitting duck if you try to use an emote.
So the emote will show up if you press left bumper and right bumper at the same time. Choose an emote. Watch yourself do some stuff. They added contextual on-screen pop-ups that explain button functions. So assist. They added like tutorial assist essentially.
Yes, and then the place I noticed this the most was a clip that someone posted in our Discord. I think it was Fugly. He posted a clip of him throwing a grenade, and when you pull out a grenade, you have button prompts at the bottom of the screen showing you how to use the grenade. So like you can hit I don't know what button is right now, but you can hit a button to throw underhand. You can hit a different button to pull the pin to cook the grenade. And I think there was one more thing, and I'm forgetting it. But basically, prompts that are contextual, which are very much appreciated. So I don't want to go dig into my settings or potentially not even know that you can cook your grenade. This now helps you out if you're a newer player.
Solid. They also added grenade hit effects and animations and removed the knockback effect for player characters when dealing non-lethal damage, which they just took away from PC not too long ago also.
Pretty recent, yeah.
Like 1 patch ago maybe?
I think so, yeah. We talked about this pretty recently, and I expressed my disdain for that feature to begin with. It shouldn't have been in the game in the first place, I don't think. It's where you get hit by the nade and you go flying, and then you take additional damage once you stop moving. It's like an extra fall damage multiplier on top of the damage that the grenade already puts out. So I think what this does overall is make grenades slightly less lethal, but it's a good change in that the actual mechanic of being pushed out from behind a rock and then taking additional damage after you hit the ground a second time is just stupid. So I'm glad they got rid of that.
And it also makes it more of a skilled tool. Mm-hmm. Because you're not going to win just on the knockback anymore. You have to be more precise with your throws.
Yeah. Yep. And it makes them a little less overpowered, I think, which
Hmm.
they definitely were. Like, grenades were so powerful pre-patch.
For sure, for sure.
So they've got a known issue here, which I have a little bit of a bone to pick with. This is what you would refer to as a memory leak, where the game continuously takes up all of the memory in your system to the point where it crashes. After long play sessions, they say a known issue is that the standard Xbox One and Xbox One S, after 3 or more hours of playing, you will crash. And this has been a problem for some time, and we hope to resolve it soon. In the meantime, the simple workaround: restart the game every couple of hours if you plan to play for a longer session. This is par for the course as far as early access games go. They will fix this eventually, but it's just a stupid bug. They need to figure that out. Like, you should never have to stop your gameplay and turn it off and restart your game.
Yep. See the PC players who fix problems by turning it off and turning it back on again.
Yes.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Bug bounty. So this is kind of cool. They're giving rewards to people who find bugs on the test server and report them. So there is a link, we'll put it in the show notes, where you can report a bug. And this program ends on the 14th of May, so it's coming up pretty soon. So get it in there if you haven't already. But I think what happens is if you report a bug, you potentially get a skin. So that's kind of cool. There's an FAQ, again, we'll post it. Some of the in-game items you'll get look like a jacket. It's kind of like a padded jacket with... It's kind of ugly, actually. It's brown and yellow with a white collar. So players are selected for the bounty basically based on bug report, like the quality of the bug report. And if many bugs are reported by multiple players, as long as the information in each submission is unique and helpful in its own way, those bugs will qualify. So it's like they want you to submit things that are helpful for them, but won't punish you if other people have reported it too. So there's a whole bunch of different guidelines and rules that you have to follow for submitting a bug report. You can check out that FAQ. And then they're not sure yet exactly when they'll be finished reviewing all of the submissions, but once they do that, they will give you the in-game item, and they will, assuming you give them the correct gamer tag, they will put that into your account. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's just more incentive to help build this game and fix the problems it has. I have no problem with that. Seems like a win-win for everyone.
I would agree with that.
So that is the May 3rd test server patch notes. I didn't get to play this personally, but it's pretty cool that we are seeing Miramar. People are really enjoying it, and I think that transitions pretty well into part 2 of the Xbox box, which is Discord chatter. So what did people have to say this week?
So much, Daniel.
So much.
So much.
So much.
So a lot of them who did play that test just think Miramar is really great, and a lot of people think it kind of sucks that it went away. Sort of like how we felt when the first war mode went away.
Mm-hmm.
They got like a little taste of something that they've been watching, and then it was just kind of ripped from their grasp and dragged off somewhere, and they don't think they'll ever see it again.
Yeah, gone too soon.
Yeah, they really like the new UI changes that are on the test server, and specifically the prompts that they have for like the grenades and things like that, because obviously those would be super helpful for a game that really doesn't know its identity yet with a controller.
There's so many buttons in this game. Like, they just said emotes, you have to hold left button and right button at the same time. It's like, how would you remember all of that? Like,
right.
Versus keyboard, you know your emote button is just one button of your 110 keys on your keyboard. It gets a little bit tricky with the controller. So any little prompt helps for sure.
And because there's no tutorial at the beginning,
right?
You don't get that same thing like you would jumping into Uncharted or whatever, like where they walk you through, they freeze the game, they tell you what to do, and you move forward. It just doesn't exist. So
training ground one day, maybe. Hopefully.
They do like the new scope changes, and the 2x for a lot of them is much more usable and effective with the wider field of view.
Yeah, that's the 2x change that I noticed the most when it hits PC. It's like very noticeable. As soon as you pull up the 2X, you're like, wow, I can use this now. Like I'm not
Yep.
looking through a toilet paper tube. Like this
Yep.
is cool. But I think they made all of the scopes wider, which is great for Xbox. I don't know if there's any difference between these scopes and the PC scopes. Maybe they did something where, you know, Xbox, you're probably going to be sit further away from your screen, so maybe they adjusted that. But
Yeah, maybe
it's
they pulled
probably
in
the
a
same,
little,
but I don't know.
or less blur.
Less blur,
on
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that chromatic aberration might be slightly adjusted. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 2X is just so much more usable now.
So you have more information on this, but there's a lot of talk about the sensitivity and settings like that.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about that. I agree. It was something that came up today for a little bit. It came up another day as well. People talking about like dead zone, how high your sensitivity should be, and just general tips for like mouse acceleration or thumbstick acceleration, aim acceleration. I just wanted to give my thoughts about this really quick, things that I have learned from playing many, many hours, like 1,500 hours of Counter-Strike. Basically, the long story short is you want to go as low as you possibly can and still be accurate. And the reason you want to have low sensitivity is because you want to retain your pinpoint accuracy when you are scoping in, as well as when you are just aiming at someone who's very close to you. And this game has a lot of options for sensitivity. So you have like the aiming sensitivity, which is when you are just shouldering your weapon. You've got the aim down sight sensitivity. You've got the regular sensitivity. And then you have all of the individual scopes have their own sensitivity. So there's a lot of settings here. And what I'm going to suggest to you is that you go into the game, you set it on the lower side, sometimes even slightly lower than you feel like you should be at, and then train your muscles to continue to get better and perfect your aim at that sensitivity. Set these things once and forget it, because if you keep changing your sensitivity, you will not retain the muscle memory that you need to get better. You're going to be constantly adjusting your settings, and you'll never feel like you're getting any better at the game because you have no baseline to build off of. So what I tell people, if you're on PC, my sensitivity, and I can tell you I have a 800 DPI mouse, and I can tell you I have like, I think it's sensitivity notch number 4 in the sliders. But an easier way to find your sensitivity, if you want it similar to what mine is, and again, this changes for everyone, I would say take your mouse, put it on the left side of your mouse pad, and then drag your mouse all the way to the right side of your mouse pad, straight across. And if you do something like a 270 to 360 degree turn, somewhere in between there, from going all the way across your mouse pad, that's a decent sensitivity to have. You can obviously adjust that a little bit here and there if you want more or less. Again, it's not wrong to have a high or a low sensitivity, but I prefer to stick to the lower side so I'm more accurate. And it's if my hand twitches or if I'm slightly off that day, like there's more room for error. Basically, you can have your mouse move a little bit more, but it affects the game a little bit less if your sensitivity is lower. So I'm someone who uses my wrist mostly to aim with the mouse. I sort of keep my wrist anchored on my mouse pad and sort of flick with my wrist. Other people use their whole arm and their anchor is their elbow, and they keep their wrist straight.
John's an elbow user.
Perfect example. Yep. And your sensitivity might differ based on how if you're an arm aimer or if you're a wrist aimer. And again, like my advice is mostly coming from the PC side. But again, I think the main takeaway here is the lower you can get it, the better you will be at aiming from all distances and using all the scopes. And you can get into the fine details and you can say, oh, 8x is higher zoom, so I'm going to lower that one a little more, but keep my 2x scope a little bit higher. Honestly, I suggest don't even mess with it. Set them all the same and just learn and get your muscle memory and just don't even worry about the settings, because sometimes it's just too much and your brain goes wild trying to figure out what is best for you. So I would just lower them all just a little bit, leave them, and just get better. Practice,
slow clap here.
And there's Dan making a good point. It's not a great point because John has those great points. I just have good points.
Quack, quack, quack.
So yeah, I think this also applies to Xbox too. I found myself having to decrease the sensitivity on Xbox because that would be aiming at people and just, my thumbsticks are flying all over the place because I'm awful with a controller. So it's going to vary a little bit. There's also the dead zone, which personally I don't really think that does a lot, and I could be wrong and people might yell at me for this, but I think what you probably should do is just leave that at what the default is. If you need to up or down your sensitivity, do that with the thumbsticks, but overall just kind of leave the defaults and just see if you can train yourself to get better.
Well put, Daniel.
Thank you. I have a lot of PC tips. If you ever need any tips about aiming or mice, anything like that, I have a lot of experience, as does John. So hit us up in the Discord if you have any questions. One other thing that someone brought up, Nick in PDX, he has a very interesting situation. So he is an Xbox player, and he recently built a PC to join the PC community and is now on the PC side of PUBG. And he had an interesting note. He said the biggest difference that he found from PC to Xbox is the community. Xbox players chat a lot while playing, and he thinks the PC community just feels enormous. I wanted to see what your thought on that was, Cody. Like, what did you think about how different people are from each platform? I wanted to see if you had any thoughts about that.
I have no thoughts about that because this is the first time having a PC that I actually played online with people that I didn't know. I've never been a multiplayer online player. I played single player or couch co-op games on my PlayStation. And then coming into this, I just felt like it was awesome to be able to actually like talk and play with people randomly that you would find. And it is vast. I guess like that I can agree with, but to tell the difference between the two, I don't really have a whole lot of experience with that.
Yeah, I don't have a ton either. I was wondering if you did just from playing any of your console games previously before PC, but I didn't know if you had played a lot of multiplayer games on like 360.
Literally zero.
Gotcha. Okay.
I played Battlefield 1 and nobody uses their mic.
Yeah. That's what I found is like a lot of people just don't use your mic. And I think when I played a lot of like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2 was the big Xbox game that I played. It was like just like a free for all. Like no one's really trying to team up or work with their team. Everyone is just in it for themselves. Even when you play team deathmatch or capture the flag or capture the point or whatever team mode you're playing, like no one really seems to follow the objective on console as much. But you get that on PC too. I don't think it's fair to say like one group of people follow the rules more than the other. I think it's pretty much spread apart to both. But that's just my experience as far as like PC versus Xbox. But on the flip side, like PC, like a lot of people don't have microphones or choose not to use them or sort of already have their friend groups established. And I think that that's the point I wanted to touch on is it's kind of tough sometimes as a PC player because there's so many to find a new friend group. And I think because of how the Xbox works, it can be somewhat more social in that you can just join a lobby or join a party of one of your friends and there's like 3 other people in there.
Yeah. And I think that Discord helps that though. Look at the community that we've built right now and all the people that probably have met through that Discord channel. Whether or not they've heard each other's voice or things like that, they talk every single day at this point and they talk about the game and they help each other out and people do play with each other. People hop on. We have a lot of people at PC and at Xbox right now, like asking to squad up.
Yeah, for sure.
And that I think that is that middleman to break that tendency to not want to play with new people.
Yeah, it's tough. It's intimidating for sure. Because going into a game where you need a good team, like this is a game where you're going to spend 35 minutes with that person if you're playing a duo, or you're going to spend 35 minutes with 3 other people, and you want to make sure that you like them going into the game because if you have a bad time, it's going to ruin your gaming experience, and you're going to lose all of that time that you had gaming just trying to deal with someone who's a pain. So I get that, and that's the same on Xbox as it is on PC. But I don't know where I was going with this, but overall, I think like join our Discord. We're gonna play Discord again.
All right,
just like
and that has been
people to play with. We're all cool, right? We're all cool.
All right, Dano, round us out with the Xbox box.
Gameplay tip from yours truly to your ear holes. So this is something that came up again in Discord, link in bio. Left and right on the D-pad when you are in your inventory and you are determining how many of an item to drop or pick up. Left and right increases that amount in that little window by 1. Up and down increases it by increments of 10. So it was someone in Discord who said, I am so annoyed by the fact that I want to drop 30 rounds of 5.56, but I have to click on the D-pad 30 times to drop that amount. I stumbled on this by accident. I was like, this can't be right. There has to be a better way. So I was pressing pretty much every button on my controller, and I found that if you press up or down, it increases it by increments of 10. So this is a quick way to drop like a 30 pouch of 5.56 for your teammate a lot faster than clicking one button 30 times. So there is your Xbox gameplay tip and your Xbox box. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
And now we move on to personal computer place. That's our Xbox box for PC players now. Beautiful. I just thought of it. A personal computer place. You have to say it like that, though.
What do we got? We got some news.
We do have some news. They pushed through that giant thing to live. That giant patch number 12. It's massive. It's awesome. I really enjoy it. It's definitely adjustment with all of these changes to the weapons, the nerfing, the buffing, the angled lightweight thumb pinky grips. There's just a lot. It gets super confusing sometimes, but it is really enjoyable. It's sort of like we're playing a slightly new game.
Yeah.
Being able to jump in and relearn some stuff is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it keeps it fresh in a good way. I'm not sure. I haven't played it enough. But I think what they were going for, they did with good intentions, which was sort of blurring the lines between which weapons are effective in which situations. They sort of wanted no one weapon to be overall the only weapon you'd ever go with. So I think they did it, and we just have to keep testing, keep playing for me to really form my opinion. But so far, so good. And it's cool learning new stuff, like you said.
Yeah, for sure. And they added in announcements in the game menu, so you're gonna know when stuff is coming up and happening, maintenance and things of the like. So it doesn't just pop up and say connecting, can't connect to server, and then you have to go and check the Twitch or the Twitter and see what happened.
Yeah, we asked for this a while back. I went on a mini rant about that one.
Yep. So let's do some bitching.
Yes. I slipped this into the show notes at the end of today, and I was like, you know what? I think this deserves it. Grips. What are they doing?
I don't know, Dan.
What are they doing?
Listen, we have 5 different grips now.
That's too many grips.
It's too many grips. It's too many grips.
It is too many grips.
We legitimately need 3 grips that do 2 separate things and then 2 similar things. That's what it should be. It should be one that reduces vertical, one that reduces horizontal, one that does both. That's what it should be.
Yep.
Hands down. Pick them, stick them, lick them.
Boom. Because, like, honestly, there's just way too much going on. All of these grips don't really fill any need. We know from testing Wacky Jackie 101. I think it's 101, 111. Wacky Jackie. Look him up on YouTube. He's done the math. He's done the testing. He knows. He gives it to you in a beautiful format. He tells you the best grip for tapping is the vert grip. The best grip for spraying is the vert and the half grip. So overall, like, the vert grip is one of the best. And then all those other grips, why are they even in the game? Like, what are they doing? They're just congesting the loot pool. They're making less room for other items to spawn. It's making it less likely that you'll get the best one. They don't cater to a certain play style. I don't understand what they're doing in the game.
No, and it takes so much time away from your game when you're trying to figure out what grip you have and whether or not it's worth putting on.
Yes. And you're comparing it to the weapons you have. You're comparing it to the weapons that you might get later. It slows everything down.
It's a pain.
And to make it even worse, they throw in one that is it makes your gun complete garbage. The lightweight grip, like, basically increases your recoil by 2. It's just stupid that it's even in there. It's like, why even add this? Like, go without the grip. Don't even add it. Like, don't put it on your weapon. If you find the lightweight grip, just like kick it and keep running. Like,
Yeah, I don't want it.
I don't want that.
I don't want that
in
garbage
my
trash in my life.
life. We just said the same thing. Oh my god, it's garbage trash. It is garbage trash. So
Anyway,
that's
so
a quick
let's
bitch.
stick to it. Don't pick up other stuff. Let's add some fun stuff like bipods, bayonets, not grenade launchers, even though I
Maybe.
want to say grenade launchers. Like grenade launchers with the frequency that you can find flare guns.
Basically, you're lucky if you get one per game.
Correct.
I can get on board with that.
Yep. I think that would be fun as hell. Like
Yep.
you find it and you go, oh my God, this is crazy.
Yeah. Yep. But no, we got 3 grips that don't serve a purpose. And they're not even like
come
fun
around
attachments.
here
They're just
no
like
more.
they're just there, you know? Like you don't notice the effects of them. They don't make your gun like amazingly better. Like if you slow down your fire rate and just shoot like really slow like that, like you wouldn't even notice if you had a grip on or not. Like that's just, I don't know. It's a waste of time. They could have gone so many different places with these attachments, but they chose like the most boring thing to equip to a weapon, and I really
But
don't know
also,
why they did this.
let's just refocus and come back to a happy place. At least we don't have hop rocks in our game.
Hop rocks?
That's a thing now in Fortnite.
What the hell is that?
The meteors apparently hit, and now there are rocks that you can use to jump.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
boy.
It's a thing.
Did that meteor take out Tilted Towers yet?
No, it did not. It landed and took out something else, and
Well, that's boring.
Yeah.
Oh, it took out Dusty Depot, right?
so I don't. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I played a little bit of Fortnite. That was the absolute worst drop spot. Those like 3 or 4 buildings right next to each other, and there's just nothing there.
Well, I guess there's something there now, and it's a crater thing.
What are they doing?
Let's get back to the plunk bat game.
Yes.
We had some feedback about level 3 helmet changes that I thought you wanted to cover.
Yeah, this is a quick little thing. I sent out this tweet a little bit ago because I feel like being a little more active on Twitter. I was kind of just like testing the waters to see if I would get anything back, you know, echo chamber or whatnot. Not so much an echo chamber. A couple people got back to that tweet. I posted what were your thoughts on the fact that the level 3 has been removed from the random spawn pool and is now a crate only.
We already know my thoughts on this whole thing anyway. So.
Yeah, we talked this one to death, but this was sort of like a experiment just to see what people would say and if anyone would respond to me on Twitter, and they did, which was cool. So people do follow us on Twitter at HOTDROP Podcast. Nick in PDX says he liked being able to stumble across a level 3 helmet once in a while, but he does understand that it balances the game out a little bit when you put them in care packages. Ducky said, now the Car 98 is overpowered because it one-shots a level 2 helmet. People are camping the drops more because they know if you do not have a drop yet, it's a one-shot kill. This is interesting. We talked about this for a while in previous episodes. I firmly believe that the Car 98 is not overpowered because if it didn't do a one-hit kill to a level 2 helmet, it would be completely pointless, and the SKS and every other rifle would be a better choice.
Yep.
So I don't agree with you, Ducky. I'm sorry, but I like your opinion, and I appreciate that you took the time to tweet at us.
Ducky, he told me that you smell like old cabbage. And he's never met you in real life. But I value you as a person and a fan.
For that, I apologize. I've been churlish. Albion, I don't know what your full name is, but I believe you're in the Discord, so thank you for popping into our Twitter as well. Said that it makes no difference to them. They are really loving the game since the patch. So there you go. Some indifference is just what we need to move on to this next segment, which is the fact that Cody's heart is broken and PUBG don't give no crap about you. We're taking away Bay, and you can deal with it. That's what they said.
War mode. Broke the servers, and it broke my heart. It was just really sad because... Listen, so we got war mode, and we were so excited about it. And first of all, apparently it caused some quote-unquote instability in the servers, and they pulled it permanently, that version permanently.
So it did suck when we were playing. I just want to interject real quick.
That
It
was my
choppy. The sound was cutting in and out. It was awful.
It was garbage, and it was disappointing in itself because there were things wrong with it too that weren't bug issues.
Yes.
The essence of war mode was not the same as it was in round one. Round one had teams of 10. This had 5 or 10 teams of 5. So you were essentially glorified squads, but you only had crate weapons, which has 3 weapons that aren't sniper rifles.
I want to point out real quick here too that this was released at the time that the weapon patch, the weapon adjustments went live.
Yeah.
So why the hell would they make the event mode crate only weapons when you just put in all of these changes to completely rework the recoil on all of the ARs that we've used day in and day out and perfected our skills on, and that we want to practice the new changes and get better with them because we've just changed everything? They do an event with crate weapons only. That made no sense at all.
And
continue, please.
And to make it worse, they added like 8x scopes on these crate weapons in a circle that is like the 3rd to last circle size.
Or in a city, or like not in the open. Yeah.
It was terrible. And so being able to do it, nobody was really communicating because everyone was trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. And it just wasn't enjoyable. It was hard to see. They said it at sunset. So like in the crevasses, as John probably says now because he's in the UK, it was just dark. It was super dark and you couldn't see anything. So you had to get to the highest point and fight it out with everybody else who was trying to land at the highest point. And realistically, using your pistol anyway.
Yeah.
Unless you were lucky enough to get an AUG or a Groza.
Yeah. And it made me realize that MK14 needs a 20-round clip. That should
yes,
not have
it does.
Clip.
It's so bad.
It's so awful. But yeah, like I think the biggest problem that I had with it was the 5-man teams. Because as hectic as the 10-man squad was, it made it so fun because you felt as though if you work together, and because there's only 2 other teams fighting against you, you could really like the playing field was a lot more even because we could all team up. We could say, okay, guys, stop what you're doing. We've got nine other people here. We got 10 of us. If we all work together, there's no way we could lose this. Like that's what it felt like when we were playing the first version of War Mode. But then to break it off into teams of 5, like it just didn't feel quite right.
It dumbed it down and it felt less exciting, and you couldn't communicate because it was just a bad environment to try and work it out in.
Yeah. Yeah, it made it feel like a real war when you had a group of 10 and you were fighting 2 other groups of 10.
Yeah.
And I like the home field advantage of Erangel. I'll say it. I like the green map. Sorry.
I would have enjoyed it if it were the ARs and stuff. I would have really enjoyed Miramar doing this war mode.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, and I don't, and I didn't, and I won't.
Yeah. And plus, just like with 5 people, it's not much different than your regular squad. Whereas 10-man squads, you could really bring in some other people that you might not play with all the time and just make a super squad or merge. Like maybe you have another group of friends and they have a squad of 4. Like Crander has a group where he plays with all the time. And like we could bring our main HOTDROP squad in with his squad and we could make like a super team. And that was really cool. And that you couldn't do that with just 5 people.
Yeah. And continuing on with this salt shaker of a discussion.
Let's do it. Salt me up, baby.
Fortnite is having a Marvel Infinity War themed event right now, and we can't get war mode to work. Right? Like Thanos is dropping at Tilted Towers, just wrecking shit.
Yeah.
And my sound doesn't work in a silent like. How? It's the same game engine.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And don't get me wrong, I can't stand Fortnite. I think it's dumb. Dumb as hell. But come on.
So I had to Google something real quick. I'm going to the Google machine. I'm searching PUBG copies sold, which is 30 million. 1 2 3 zeros, 1 2 3 zeros. times $30. That's $900 million.
Jeez.
And you would think, did I do that wrong? Let me double check. 30 million copies, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, times $30 per copy, $900 million. Okay, and we can't get war mode. What's going on? What's going on? Brendan Green, hit me up on Twitter at HOTDROP Podcast. Join our Discord. Let us know what's going on, because we're in trouble. We're in trouble just a little bit.
Our numbers are going down, viewer counts are going down, updates are going down. Like, it's just not keeping up. And I don't want it to die out for a game that's not really the same thing.
Yeah, it's still fun as fuck, but like we need some kind of like, we need these event modes to keep it fresh and to keep people coming back.
We're not getting a whole lot of new players, and that's the thing.
Not,
People are going to watch Fortnite, and I think Fortnite is boring.
Yeah, they're gonna go watch Ninja play Fortnite with Drake. Like, that's way cooler than watching the Hot Drop podcast. I'm sorry, it is. Like, we're fun guys, but we're not as cool as Drake is. All right, so
yeah, he got yelled at a basketball game.
He did.
Yeah, he was at the Raptors game, and he got talked to afterward for talking too much trash.
Nice. I feel like when you make as much money as he does, and you can sit courtside every single game you want, you have you can say whatever you want.
I mean, they gave him the title of ambassador of the, like, he's the world ambassador of the Toronto Raptors.
Seriously?
Yeah,
that's amazing. Oh wow.
Anyway, let's get off this kick.
Yeah.
Let's do the funky chicken.
Let's get some pepper in there for you, as Cody would say. Some pepper in there.
Let's Savage is back. Well, it's not Savage anymore.
It will always be Savage to me. I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
It's Sahnok, right? Is that how they told us to say it?
I don't actually know. So they said SAH-NOK.
Sahnok.
Sahnok. I said Sahnok or Sahnok.
It's Sahnok.
Sahnok. Is it Sahnok or is it Sahnok? I don't know.
Sahnok.
Is it
no
the Xbox box or is it the Xbox box?
It's a combination of a Thai word and a Filipino word. So it is the Thai word Sahnok for fun, and the Filipino word for chicken, manok, which means fun chicken. So we went from savage to fun chicken.
Someone's got to say it. Someone has to say it.
They're like, yeah, what? Savage is back, and now we get to do the funky chicken. And they put
the word
Fix the damn game.
They put the word in like these big bold letters with like the image of the temple like coming through. It looks all like badass, like boom, Sahnok, but it's like boom, funky chicken. It's like, oh,
they're like talking about how beautiful the languages are, and then they butcher it and combine two different cultures' languages and make it fun chicken.
Yep. Well, there goes any endorsement of the Blue Hole endorsing Hot Drop Podcast for official podcast. But yeah, no, I don't really like that. I don't like the name, honestly, not because of what it means,
Savage,
but because of like I don't know how to pronounce it, and it's so hard to pronounce it that people are just gonna call it the jungle map, just like they call Miramar the desert map, and just Erangel the green map. You know, like it's not very conducive to conversation.
But let's do this. We've got Savage back, so let's focus on the good here.
And I'm very excited.
Savage testing goes live Thursday night of this week, so yesterday for those of you who are listening on Friday, and we'll run through Sunday, right? We go through Sunday?
Yep, 3 days. It's going to be awesome.
It looks like they've made some more changes. Looks like they've textured some things. Swamp Temple looks beautiful.
Yes.
It looks super cool. I don't know. They haven't said what else has changed, so we're just going to kind of see. Yep. We're going to get in. We're going to see if they've made circle changes. We're going to see if they've added loot spawn areas differently. Then we're going to see if they added anything inside of other buildings. We're down to about 2 months until we see this thing full time. So I would expect that for this test, we're going to see a lot of big changes. Maybe not gameplay changes, but texture changes and effects changes.
Yeah, I know they had to fill those houses with some objects They were just empty rooms. So that's probably going to be one of the bigger things they do. Um, Obviously, uh, the textures are there now. Before we just had some checkerboard. So that's going to be nice to see. The thing I want to see the most, though, is just fast circles. I want to see the circles just like they were. I don't want them to adjust it. I loved how you could get down to the end and it's like 90 seconds or 60 seconds and you have to hoof it every single time. You don't have much time to think. You just move, and that's how a 4x4 map should play. So I hope they keep that. I want to see a little bit less loot in the first rounds. It was just loot explosion everywhere. It was like...
Yeah,
they wanted
you
to
could
test
pick
it, so
up
it makes sense.
you could pick up 6 first aid kits while walking 20 feet.
Yeah, that's how it was, and I don't want to see that anymore. I think we're at the point where we can stop that as far as testing. I think we can move on to like refinement now. Like we know how it plays, so we can make it a little more fun to play as far as looting. I would like to see some map specific vehicles. Maybe 1 or 2 weapons as well, map-specific weapons, like we have
for
on all
sure.
the other maps.
They have to.
What do you think they would add here? Like, I feel like some kind of
what I would do
crossbow or non-bullet shooting weapon.
If this is a jungle themed map, one thing that I think would be cool is mounted weapons on vehicles.
That would be really cool.
Yep.
It'd be so overpowered potentially, but
no,
really
because
cool.
it would be hard as shit to fire while you're driving. Think about what it's like when you aim down sights while riding a passenger in a vehicle.
That's true. That's very true.
It will be, if you hit something, it's going to do some damage, but good luck. Like in Rambo, they had the boat mounted weapons and things like that. Like it would be an awesome thing to see and really hard to use.
Yes.
And limited weaponry or limited ammo, super limited. So you can only use it for like a clip or whatever. You don't get to find others. You'd have to find a new vehicle. It's done like that. I think a different throwable would be helpful in this map.
That's true. We haven't even really gotten to that. Like what other throwables you could do. Because they have the stun grenade, which is somewhat pointless. I think I've got stunned once. Ever?
We had talked before about the introduction of like setting traps and claymores and stuff would be a thing down the road.
Yeah.
I don't think there might be enough time in this 4x4 map, but in a different iteration of another map, it might actually be a good idea to consider those.
Yeah, that could be cool. Like setting like traps where like tripwires or like the pits with spikes in them and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that could be fun.
Or just built into the game. So like it's not a weapon you find, it's just in that map somewhere.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the next iteration of Savage. I think it's going to be a lot of the same, but it's going to be more refined. We're going to have more texture. We're going to have more items in the map as far as like not decals, but props inside houses, more cover. And hopefully we'll get those map-specific weapons and vehicles soon, because I think they will do that. The other thing that this map introduces that's not on the other maps is weather, dynamic weather.
Yeah.
And we saw it already. We played with it a little bit. The fog would roll in, and then it would rain a little bit. But like, what I really want to see is more hardcore version of that. I want to see it like actually affect my gameplay. Like, I want the fog to be thick, as thick as it was back when we had fog in the game.
Oh my god, I forget that we had real weather.
Yeah. So I want that. I want rain that actually obscures your vision a little bit, or like anything beyond like 200 meters is hard to see, or makes it louder. Yeah. I want the weather to actually affect the gameplay versus like, oh, it's raining now and that's cool. Like, it's just not just a visual thing.
So big things, hop in there, make sure you play this out because we want to know exactly what you guys think. There's a lot of feedback when we have these test servers, and it gets us talking, and we have better things to talk about instead of making stupid jokes and me attempting to sing. Yep. I'm talking to you, Mongball and Jammy.
This is me this time, which is a weird thing. Far too many ciders, I suppose. Really quick, I just want to point it out, the known issues list. This is something that we talked about a really long time ago. I'm talking about episode like 20-something. They have a known issues list where they list all of the things that they're currently working on, the bugs that have been reported. The only thing I really wanted to say here is that there's a massive list of issues that they resolved, which is great. But just as big, if not slightly bigger than that list, is a list of things that are under investigation or in progress. And there's a lot of little things here, like the colorblind mode wasn't fully reflected in all scope crosshairs. So like there's little stuff like that. But then there's like seriously freaking game breaking shit. They have opponents can become invisible during the match sometimes. They have when in ADS, other players can become invisible in certain circumstances. Sometimes a tree can appear not completely rendered from a distance, resulting in the player being behind the tree being revealed.
Which we have run into.
Players do not receive damage from grenade explosions under certain circumstances. Like, whoa, these are like esports ready. How many $1 million is that?
$2 million. $2
$2 million tournament, and we're gonna have opponents being invisible during the match sometimes. Like that. That's good. That's good.
That's insane.
So yeah,
get on it, Blue Hole.
we want some Marvel crossover. What's the other one? Not Marvel, but DC.
DC.
We want DC and PUBG.
But like the Jim Carrey Riddler. That's our version. Like they get Thanos, we get Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
Every time I hear I think of Jim Carrey, I think of The Mask.
Somebody stop me.
Smoking. So yeah, that's the known issues list. Link in show notes as always. I just picked out a few because like, wow, there's some really hardcore stuff in there that they need to fix. That's bad. That's really bad.
For sure. All right, so let's do some question of the week stuff.
Let's do question of the week stuff.
We had a lot of feedback from our Xbox friends and not so much from you PC bastards.
Get sucked on. Our questions for the PC bastards were we had two questions because we had a lot of Xbox love last week and we wanted to throw it out to you guys. But for PC, our question to you was, what do you feel about the new scopes, about the new reticles that were added?
And our one person,
I think this person needs a prize. We need to give a prize to J.A. Wilson.
He really likes the new 3x scope. He feels like the weapon sway is a lot better, more useful, and he likes to stay away from the 6x. He thinks that they should probably cut the 2x altogether. With this being said, complete trash and struggle to kill people, so take my opinion with a grain of salt.
But I'm with you, J.A. Wilson, if that's your real name, or Jolson, because
Wilson.
What point does the 2x really play if you can put a red dot and then hold down the hold your breath key and then zoom in like 1.8x distance?
Mm-hmm. So here's how I feel about that. I actually like the 2x as just a standard sight. I'm starting to get away from it and going to the hollow, which took me a long time because I like the red dot for a while. But that 3x is pretty key.
The 3x is so nice. That's a sweet spot for me.
That field of view, close range, you can still use it. And at mid range, if you adjust your shot a little bit, you can hit anything over 100 meters away.
Yeah. It's the perfect middle ground between the red dot and the 4x.
And if you're trying to make a long shot with that 6x, I think it's really nice. Mm-hmm. So like I don't stay away from it. I want it because I would rather use that than the 8x most times.
I'm with you.
8x you can never get close enough to go like, why would I need to be this close from this far away?
Yes.
But that 6x you don't really have to worry about zeroing anything. You don't have to overshoot a lot. If anything, you'll undershoot and just correct. So it feels nice.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you. The 8x almost slightly became obsolete in a way compared to the 6. And the reason I say that is because the 6x goes perfectly on a Car 98, which is very effective, that middle to mid-long range, because the Car 98 has such a slow bullet speed. John frickin' loves the Car 98 with the 4x. Mm-hmm. Like that's he will say no to an 8x every single time you offer him one if he has a Car 98. So that 6 is the sweet spot, and it also has a really awesome reticle. It's just like that basic crosshair.
It's awesome.
Thin lines, a little dot in the middle. It's perfect for the Car 98, which I'm going to go to the 6x every time. And the 6x works on the ARs, which is awesome.
Yep.
So like it's almost eliminated the 4x for me. I want to use the 3x and I want to use the 6 every time. 8 is nice for Miramar because you can zoom in a long way away, but the reality is you really can't hit someone with the 8x when it's zoomed in all the way.
Yeah,
It's just
for sure.
the time the bullet takes to get to that person, they're going to already move. And like, when was the last time you ever killed anyone with the 8x zoomed all the way in? Unless they're standing still, there's
I
very
think
little chance you can hit
the
them.
last time I did was the one, the 8-man squads, that event, when we took those people and I shot across the house with the roof. Just that was the one and only time I ever zoomed in all the way and got somebody. But it was a silenced, compensated everything. Like it was a miracle.
Yeah. So yeah, 6x and 3x, my new jams. Sounds like they're your new jams as well.
You've been jammed.
Pretty sweet. Shh.
Speaking of jams, let's talk about what Jammy said.
Ah, look at that segue. That was beautiful. What did he say?
So he is an Xbox player, and his number one thing on his wish list, war mode. Desperately needs combat practice. Been playing nearly since launch on Xbox, and he's only got 93 kills because of he has a life.
Shots fired. Wow. Woo, getting right in there.
His KD ratio is 0.46, so that's probably roughly 200 skirmishes in 4 months. Playing Battlefield, he'd have that in 2 days.
Yeah.
And that is a really fair assessment of this game. Is like it's not Battlefield, but if they gave you some sort of practice, you would be better at these things. Games would move faster. People would feel more accomplished. Whereas in Fortnite, you can do that. You can go in and just learn. You know?
Yeah. And like this game isn't all about kills. So if I had to counterpoint, that would be the one. That's the one. Which would be, it's not about kills. You can get one kill and win a game. Like you could play 100 games and win 93 of them with one kill. Like it's not about kills, but it's obviously makes the game a lot more fun if you get kills. So
For sure.
And there's no way to get kills if you don't practice and play a lot. So yeah. War mode desperately needed to bring to Xbox. And that was our question of the week, which was what was the one thing that you wish for the most on Xbox?
Right. And Fugly said it's just smoother gameplay. He wants smoother gameplay because this game has screwed him over at least 2 times because of some kind of glitch or bug or whatever, where the response time to the server doesn't count the shot or whatever. So like this is repeated a couple of times as smoother gameplay within this Discord, and that seems to be a thing. If you can't fix the bugs, people aren't going to want to play.
Yeah, it's less about the bugs. Like I'm okay with having a temporary problem where the motorcycle will flip randomly and kill me if the game plays smoothly. I can overlook that. I can overlook the motorcycle problem. But if the stuttering and the poor performance is affecting my gameplay, which it is, like it's pretty shocking going from PC, where I have a pretty beefy PC, but going back to Xbox and seeing less than 30 frames per second sometimes is pretty freaking hard to swallow. And Cameron Solu says the same thing in our Discord. He said, I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong one. SPG says, God, I looked at the wrong one again. What is going on here? I had this all queued up, and it was a perfect segue, and I just ruined it. No, yeah, it is Cameron. Yeah, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. They say he says he desperately needs a smoother experience overall. The texture pop-up seems to be getting worse. The buildings are still mush. They're Play-Doh for the first 2 minutes of the game, and the rubber banding persists. He loves the game, but he does get sick of it sooner than he would like during each play session because of these issues, and that is the nail on the head.
And it's weird that we get like answers like that where they talk about the bugs in it, but then I know you were going to SPG, but like they're even saying like gameplay is not the issue. It's the fact that you have this grind in the middle of the game that loses your interest. You don't want to play anymore. So like, why not have a Savage map installed on these Xbox games where they are faster, they are less demand on the servers, they lose the amount of information because people die so fast. Why not add a smaller map now and just cut your losses so that you don't have this mid-game drag of this new demographic that you're trying to bring in?
Yeah, that's a good point. With the Miramar, you get that mid-game drag. And it's slower because the map is so massive. That's the key. And like the flip side to what I just said, I'm going to counterpoint myself, which is you can also overlook bugs if you have content. If people are continuously being engaged and, you know, they're dangling the carrot of new content in front of their face, they will overlook the problems. So it's give people content, give them a faster game mode, give them the Savage map, which is what all of us PC guys are clamoring for because of the fact it's a smaller, more exciting, quicker game mode. And like we'll overlook some of the problems. Just like keep bringing us content, and like we will have nothing to complain about because we know the bugs will get fixed eventually.
Yep.
It's just a matter of time.
And that's
keep,
what Fortnite does
on
is
it.
they keep giving you content after
Yes.
content after content, and people don't care about any bugs that are in any system because of content.
Yes.
And it kind of gets to the point that content is an answer because we're just compromising for it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But like even Scale Sweeter, if you kind of scroll into our Discord, you'll see all this feedback. But he says like, I just want them to solve the crashing issue. Being able to play for a long time is important to people who are trying to invest their time and effort into this. And if it crashes, it shouldn't be. That's a real first world problem I'm about to dive into here. But like, you should not have to stop playing because the company can't figure out how to not use all of your memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh, hold on, guys. I know we're just riding that high, but let's restart here.
Yeah.
What is this, an NES?
Yeah, take it out, blow on it, put it back in. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one bug that you cannot overlook. It is impossible to overlook because your game is physically crashing. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That really covers everything that's not repetitive in here. Thanks to everybody who jumped in there. There are a really good amount. There's like 20 people in here that really kind of jumped in and gave their opinions on these questions of the week. And so keep it up. We love the question of the week. It gets us talking, gets you guys involved. And next week's question of the week, Daniel.
Yes. What's something you wish you knew before I started playing PUBG? Also known as, what would be your best beginner tip? I think that would be both a good way to phrase that question. And now back making his triumphant return, we have John to make a great point.
And here's our friend John from across the pond. In Edinburgh. Edinburgh.
I thought it was Edinburgh.
Scotland.
Scotland.
Here's our friend John from Scotland.
John from Scotland is in Edinburgh.
It's John makes a really great point. Here's John.
All right, thanks, Cody.
From across the pond, no less.
Damn it! Yeah, from England. He's in the UK.
Currently in Scotland.
Accent.
Yeah. So coming from you, for you, coming to you.
Swiggity swooty, coming for your booty. This is John.
All the way from Edinburgh. Edinburgh. Yeah, I'm here in Edinburgh, and I was thinking about engagements of the gun variety. So I wanted to kind of pose a question to you two right away to get this kicked off, to try and help our listeners think about who they are as players and think about engagements, maybe past ones that they've encountered, or when they see one on a stream or something, try and think through what the effect of their actions are. So, real simple. Let's say you land and loot South Georgia Pole with a squad. You know that there are other people around the area. You kind of go off on your own, and from around a corner, you just see like two people going the opposite way, kind of towards your team, I guess. So my question is, do you shoot them? Do you alert your team? Do you retreat? So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I just think that it's important to think through this. So recap, you're off on your own. You have a squad. They're alive, looting currently. there's at least 2 people that you see, do you engage? What do you do, Dano?
Is this if I choose shoot, turn to page 64, and then I'll read
That's what it
"You have
feels
died."
like. Yeah.
No, like there's so many variables in this game that there's like, I think there's no, I honestly don't think there's a right answer. It's all about who you are as a player.
Yeah.
So this is like an exhibition of all the different play styles that you could have.
Not necessarily. I just think that it's important to think through what you are. So
Yeah.
like, you realizing that, like, I can tell you what mine is if y'all want me to go first.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so my thinking is I like to play aggressive, but I actually don't like starting the firefight. There are countless clips of me calling enemies out that I have a shot on, and I don't take it unless I feel exposed or like am bloodthirsty or whatever.
Yeah, so I agree with that statement wholeheartedly.
So my tendency would be alert the team, stand back, and like position myself to try and take an engagement if it's forced upon me. But I'm not like a Han Solo type. If there was a fight going on, I would fully rush into it. Like, I would try and charge a building and try and do some damage. But if the fight hasn't started yet, I'm actually kind of cautious. Mm-hmm. So that was something that I just realized recently thinking about this scenario, that while I like playing aggressively, I actually take engagements cautiously initially and prefer to provide information for my squad.
Yeah, I think I would be the same way. It depends on if those 2 people that I've spotted are fighting someone else. In that case, I would probably open up immediately and start shooting them. But that's just me being penisy. But I think with the ideal situation, the thing you should do, and I would recommend, would be to fall back, call them out, regroup with your team, make sure all of your teammates have enough equipment to take the fight. Have at least a level 2 helmet, have something like an ump, something they're comfortable using, and then move in as a group. Because if you're in squads, you're looking at, if there's 2, there's probably 2 more, at least. Yeah. So it's a good idea to move together as a unit, especially early game. But do you mean early game, or do you mean like?
Well, that's got to be the early game, because that's where we drop.
Yeah, I mean, this can happen whenever, but like, in my head, yes, this is early game.
Yeah, I think overall it probably doesn't matter if it's early game or not, because you want to work as a unit. Remember a while back we played a couple games and we were doing awful. We were doing just horrible. Yeah. And then we realized that we constantly were dying one by one because we were too spread apart when we were looting in the early game. And once
did you know where that was?
Together,
that was South Georgia Pole.
That was South Georgia Pole, and I think we had a Miramar game too. Yeah,
we did.
Yeah, I remember
because our last one where we got fed up, it was South Georgia Pole, and then we went into the Miramar game, and we felt so much better because we stayed within one building of each other.
Within one building, exactly. Yeah, or within like sight of each other, or we bugged up, and that's so key to squads. That's
the biggest issue, and I feel like we have not won as much lately because we haven't actually stuck to that, because we don't get to play as often as we would like. And so we want to go in and do the things we want to do. But if we stuck to the idea of staying together and just, whether or not it feels boring, if we want to win and we want to keep people entertained, stick together, stay within a building of each other, communicate all the time, because I'm never going to start that fight. Even if I'm on the top of the building that we always land at, I'm never going to be the first person to shoot, because 1, I'm not that accurate, but 2, we usually land within 3 buildings of each other at that South Georgia Pole, and somebody always tries to go crates.
Yeah.
And it's just not a smart idea to start that engagement until we're all grouped up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this sort of reminded me of Counter-Strike roles that people play. So pro Counter-Strike is a team of 4 or 5. And the roles are usually like you have one guy who's an entry fragger. So he's the guy who always runs in first every single time, no matter what. He usually has the worst, the worst kill death ratio, because he's always dying straight off the bat. But he's sort of the support in a way. He's like teeing up the guys, calling them out, letting the teammates behind him know where the enemies are, where to shoot. And I feel like I personally fit into that role pretty well, because I always like charging first up a set of stairs or into a building. And I think that's where you and I complement each other pretty well, especially in a duo, John. It's because we work together pretty well that way. You said you don't really like taking the initial fights, and I do. Usually when I see a group of people, I'm probably the first one to say I'll start shooting because I trust my skills and I feel like I have pretty decent aim, so I'm more confident, sometimes too confident. But I think
We all
that
are.
like that's a compliment to each other is because we have that sort of role. And then Cody, you don't really like taking that first fight, so what you do is usually back each other up. You're really good at calling locations out of where people are. You're really good at saying like, oh, I see a guy, give me numbers immediately. And that's also the key, is that communication of not just saying there's a guy, it's where are they, what's the number, and what direction are they headed. Or
Right.
where's
And when
some
you're in a
landmark.
squad, when we even tried to do those challenges during the stream, it made it difficult to determine those roles when they didn't fit our play style.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I had thought about that a little bit, and I'm glad that we didn't do that one over again, because telling me that I can't be that guy pretty much makes me nothing on the team, and I will just die anyway.
Yeah. No, it's true.
But if I'm not the one trying to just engage and I offer John the Car 98, or I give you the scope that you're looking for and things like that, I know we're going to do better because I'll still play to my strengths and I'll get a couple of kills when we have good games and stuff like that. But I'm not going to ever be the person who's getting the most kills and calling out every shot. I'm going to call out where the people are. I'm going to have a bunch of stuff that I can give to people. Like I know that's my role, and that's what makes us good.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
And
knowing what
so-
your position is, sort of what your role is in the team, and being synergistic, promoting synergy.
Yeah. Being a helpful squad mate is always like one of the best things that you can do. It's better than killing. It's better than surviving. Like,
Nailed it.
being constantly supportive is very helpful. One thing that you brought up is like back a long time ago when we were still talking about the scenario is that there were 2 squad mates that were spotted in the scenario, and you have no idea where the other, or most likely you have no idea where the other 2 could be. You might have a general, map location, but you probably don't know where they could be. And that's part of my hesitation when I go in. It's also interesting that you brought up the entry fragger, because when we played a little bit of our CS:GO squad, I tended to like to do that. Part of it was because I was really confident in my spray,
Mhm.
And the other was because I didn't mind dying for the team. But it's a different role in this. Like, deciding when to take the engagement, I think, is a different role than the entry fragger. And like you were saying, you're confident in your shot. I think you play better as the follow-up person. Like, you have the sights on somebody and you can 2-tap them to death because you're very accurate with a rifle or sniper rifle or whatever you're using. You can pull the kills off. But just like the important thing is to realize, as Cody has, like, your strengths, right? And being able to use them for your squad mate.
I think one of the things that I'm skilled at is calling out the numbers on the compass and trying to figure out what that would be for you guys if we're not super close together. But you guys are really good at calling out landmarks, which is a struggle for me sometimes, being able to identify those. But you guys have played these kind of shooter games before, so like it's easier for you to memorize maps and know where things are and like identify with the same terminology. Like, we all kind of developed like, those are the pancakes and the warehouses and things like that, or
The house
wizard
with the
tower.
roof.
Yeah, the house with the roof. Like, I know what that actually means now, because it is a house with a roof on it, not just a descriptor.
And also, any of those things could also be referred to as shit shacks. Just wanted to point
Yeah.
that out.
Every single one of them can be a shit shack, unless you ask Crander.
If there's a shit in it, then it's a shack with a shit. So
Yes.
it's a shit shack. So I think part of your point, like, Counter-Strike, that everything is named, so I think that's part of what it is. But I remember it was a struggle early on. Dano and I were still learning how to use the numbers on the compass, because we would just call objects, basically. And when you came on, I remember it was very difficult. There weren't like icons on the mini map to show where your teammates were looking.
Yeah.
It would be so hard for you, coming brand new to PC games, brand new to this complex shooter, to find where these people were while Dano and I were fighting them.
Yeah, I'm shocked you guys are still my friends after that. That was John, I'm shocked that you became my friend after that.
I mean, you were just, it was very, you made it very clear. And that's the type of thing I respect is like, you know, I need numbers to find where these guys are. It doesn't matter if it's relative to us or what, but just give me a number and then I can work from there.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're just saying, "Oh, where's that fella?" It's like, well, this is not helping the team, my dude. But
Yeah,
we
so
got you there. We got it figured out.
It's all about like playing with your squad and knowing. I think my point today is like knowing who you are as a player, knowing who you are within the squad, and that can be different in many different squads.
Yeah.
Like I'm not always the best sniper. I really like the Kar 98 at about medium range. So when that's fittable, I feel like that's a really good role for me. I can pop heads with it. But you know, sometimes on a less experienced team, I have to be more of like the captain caller, like, okay, we're gonna go do this here. Or sometimes I'm just the support guy. Sometimes I'm standing behind and like calling people out while everybody else is tearing face. Like it also depends on the day and like how good I'm feeling.
Yeah.
But I think like thinking through your plays and what that means for you as a player and like recognizing what you need to do to be better at certain things will help you grow as a player.
Well put, Jonathan.
Great point. Great point. I would just want to also point out, I don't think you should ever go into a squad and like try to form your squad with certain roles that everyone adheres to. I think that's
No.
limiting yourself if you do that.
No,
Cody,
'cause
you just brought that up. We had that as a I keep thinking of the word contest challenge. We had that as a challenge where like Cody would be the entry guy and I would be the medic and someone would carry the ammo and the other one would be like the squad leader or whatever. And it just was not a very good way to play the game. Like you should go in and play the role that you feel is best for you. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at this whole time. Jonathan.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's self-awareness and it's identification. And it doesn't need to be so clear-cut roles as that. Like, I am the sniper or anything like that.
Yeah.
But just knowing how you play with the people you play with is super helpful. I'm curious what you think of real quick. I haven't played solos in a long time. And I'm curious if this, like, discussion translates well to solo players. Like, how do they feel about the engagements? Or, like, I guess it just translates to play style, not position within a squad.
Yeah. Cody, have you played any solos in a while?
0.
Yeah. I have a little bit, but I think that the solo play styles, you sort of fit into a couple different categories. You have like the ultra aggressive guy, you've got the camper, and then you have somewhere in between maybe, but it's still, it's mostly like one of those extremes. I think I try to go in and be as aggressive as I possibly can because I know that I'm playing a solo for practice and not to win. And sometimes it results in a win and that's great, but you could win just as well being a camper, you know, being a more cautious type of player. So I don't really know if this conversation goes down the path of solos as much. I think it more applies to duos and squads. But I think that there's definitely a way to play the game. Like you should go into it with a mindset of like, you know, how am I going to approach each fight?
Right.
I think that that's a good thing to keep in the back of your head and sort of like plan as much as you can on a game based completely on randomness. Just have a mindset. I think we've talked about this before is the best way to feel like you're growing and succeeding is if you set goals for yourself and then have an idea in your head about how you want the match to go and then try to stick to that rather than it being kill everyone I see. That's not going to happen 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, and like you said, the going in with a plan, I think it's important to have the plan, but there are so many variables in this game that it's just probably not going to go exactly as you plan it. So like going in with a blueprint and then coming out with a different house is totally fine.
True.
That's
Very
an analogy, right?
That's a great analogy. Great point.
And this has been John making a great analogy.
Building your house is completely different from how you wanted.
It's just a house with a roof. That's all I need.
You gotta tweet out a picture of those or something. Like, it doesn't make like when you first
Link in
said
the
it, I was-
description.
right. When you first said it, I was actually with you. Like, every house has a roof, Dana.
So
And then you're
yeah,
like,
that's the
"No,
house that
this
has a
one."
roof, but it also has like the balcony. It's got the door that brings you out onto the
Right.
roof that you can
It's
land
the-
on that has the loot. Yeah,
It's the one that's got the roof.
the house with the roof.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yep.
So, hang out in the Discord, everybody. Answer the question of the week. Compliment me on my beautiful singing voice. Compliment Dan on his smooth and buttery voice. Compliment Scale Speeder too, because boy, does that guy have an angelic English voice. I mean, Ducky talks. He's got some stuff to say. Jump on in, find a squad. We have mobile, PC, and Xbox in here. So team up, make
Yeah.
friends. Come on
Yes.
in. You are welcome here.
Everyone is welcome. And also look into that question of the week segment because that question of the week room, because we just had a lot of people and we couldn't cover it all this week. We had so much feedback. So get in there, read what other people have to say, keep the conversation going. It just helps to talk about the game. And, if you want to report some bugs, do that. Like, don't just complain about it. Report the bugs to Bluehole. Maybe you'll get a skin. Yeah, we are all in it to build a very fun community of very fun people to hang out with. And personally, Cody, I'm very impressed with how far we've come and the group of people we have amassed over the past couple months. This is really
Yeah.
cool stuff.
It's just really nice to see a lot of people being kind to each other and talking about things that they enjoy.
Yep.
So jump on in. It's a great time. Until then, Dan.
We'll see you in game.